A monstrous flying creature terrorized a small town of Point Pleasant, West Virginia. 26 eyewitnesses claimed to have seen this winged creature in the skies over the course of a few months in 1967. Hi, I'm Chad.
And I'm Will.
And we are the Notorious 14, here to bring you the best cases of the monstrous Mothman.
It all started in 1961 in Point Pleasant, West Virginia. A resident of the town was driving down Route 2 along the Ohio River with her dad. They had just passed a park when they both saw a tall, winged creature standing in the middle of the road. It was gray in color, with folded wings against its back. When the car neared, the creature became startled and unfolded its massive wings, which, as the eyewitnesses stated, practically filled the whole road. The creature then flew straight up and disappeared into the night. It wasn't until 5 years later that the second encounter had occurred, this time in Glenrid, West Virginia, on November 12, 1966. It was when 5 men were in a cemetery preparing a grave. When they were working, they had noticed a gigantic bird-like animal in a tree nearby. The creature appeared to have brown fur covering its whole body. Though the creature lifted off from a tree, it flew away into the night, leaving all 5 of the men speechless. When interviewed, all 5 of them held to their account that the beast was not a bird, but a humanoid creature. Within the next 3 days, the third encounter had occurred, this time back in Point Pleasant, West Virginia. On November 15, 1966, Roger and Linda Scarberry, along with their friends, Steve and Mary Millett, were driving around the TNT storage area just past an old generator plant when they saw a 7-foot-tall, winged humanoid with glowing red eyes standing by the side of the road. Roger slammed on the gas and tried to get out of the munitions dump as fast as he could. After they had cleared the wooded area, the group saw the beast standing on the hill, seemingly watching them as they drove away. It stood with its wings protruding from its back.
It looked like an angel. It was shaped like a man, but bigger, maybe 6.5 or 7 feet tall, and it had big wings folded against its back.
Linda Scarberry said to the police, its torso was like that of a human's, but with no neck. Its head seemed to blend in with the rest of its body. It walked clumsily like a penguin, but then it flapped out its wings and flew down to pursue the car. Roger had slammed on the gas once again and sped out of the area. They were going nearly 100 miles an hour now, and the Mothman had kept pace with the car, without even flapping its wings. The creature emitted a high-pitched squeal, similar to that of a mouse, the witnesses had described, and it casted a dark shadow over the rear window as it pursued the car into town. At the town limits of Point Pleasant, the creature turned back around to the forest and disappeared into the night. The 2 couples had gone to the courthouse to file a report. Police officers had soon went to the TNT area and inspected the site. Although the police did not find anything of significance, they were able to find some evidence for the couple's report. A deputy saw what he said was shadows circling the old power plant, along with some dust that was disturbed in a coal yard that could have been the happenings of the creature. Police officers returned Wednesday morning and saw something fly up a boiler when they had kicked the door open. No one stayed around to see what the creature was. And it was just a couple hours later that the fourth encounter had happened, nearly 90 miles away in Salem, West Virginia. On November 15th, 1966, Newell Patridge reported that he had been watching TV around 10:30 p.m. when his television started to randomly flicker and shut down. Newell's 3-year-old German Shepherd began to howl at something outside. When he had went outside to investigate, he grabbed a flashlight and shone it around his property. He saw 2 large red eyes reflecting the light back to him. His dog saw the eyes and chased directly after them and vanished into the night. Farmer heard his dog screech, never to be seen again. The last 2 sightings happened with 2 hours of each other, as we had previously stated, nearly 90 miles apart. You would think that it could not have been the same creature. However, 4 main eyewitnesses reported seeing a dead dog on the side of the road just minutes before their run-in with the monster. Could the deceased dog possibly link both reports and prove that the 2 sightings were the same creature?
If he was traveling 100 miles an hour, I guess he could be there within an hour.
He could.
But that's just saying, we'll get to that later.
That's very hypothetical.
Like, that's saying if the Scarberries were correct on how fast they were going at the time, because during a certain time of crisis, it seems that you are going faster, when in reality, you're only going like 60 miles an hour.
You know? Yeah, your body gets filled with adrenaline, you get some time dilation, you start freaking out a little bit, and you're not paying attention as much as you probably should be. You're just like, all right, I need to get out of here.
Many people are very familiar with the Mothman sightings of Point Pleasant, but there's also been several waves of reports from different parts of the world. This is a portion in our research where things get a little bit weird. Here are some of the more well-known reports. Brian Canfield was driving his truck back to his home when suddenly the truck's engine went out. Trying to start his truck, he sat in the middle of the road, desperately trying to make the engine come to life. All of a sudden, a large winged humanoid descended from the sky and landed in his headlights, roughly 10 yards away from him. the creature landed with an audible thump and kicked some dust up into the air. He described the creature as measuring 9 feet tall, covered with blue fur, tufted ears, bird-like claws for feet, and a face like a wolf, but with no fangs. Canfield said,
The eyes were very yellow and shaped like a piece of pie with pupils, like a half moon. It was standing there, staring at me, like it was resting, like it didn't know what to do. I was scared. It raised my hair on me. I didn't feel threatened. I just felt out of place.
The creature then unfolded its wings, which took up the entire highway, twitched its fingers, and started to flap its wings. The eyewitness could hear a gust of wind as the wind began to shake his car. The creature then took off into the air and disappeared into the mountains. As the creature disappeared, Canfield's truck turned back on, and he hastily drove home to his house in Mount St. Helens, Washington. A lot of these reports mention that Mothman took off like a helicopter, and I know what they're trying to say, like it just hovered straight up like that, but I just imagined its wings just like, and just like taking off like a helicopter blade. Off we go!
I really hope that's how it happened.
Kind of in the same area, I read a report the hiker saw a huge flying creature in the Mount Shasta area. Most of them said it was probably just a huge owl or possibly a bat.
Yeah.
But one of them was like, nah, that was a pterodactyl. But the last guy, he was like, nah, dude, that's Bat Squatch.
I wonder if these people are like from the area or if they're just there touristy, like going on hikes and stuff. They're just like, you know what?
I feel like, I don't know, they're probably tourists. They're just like, yeah, I don't know what this creature was. It has to be Bat Squatch.
Yeah, I feel like if you were from the area, you would know better. Oh, yep, saw another one of them Bat Squatches around today. Brand new species that no one's ever discovered, but yeah, I see them every single day that I am here.
It's just like how the debate was between not like a fox or an owl. It was between Bat Squatch or pterodactyl.
Yeah, it seems a little bit, those choices are pretty drastically different from each other. It must have been Bat Squatch. Speaking of winged humanoid creatures, Bat Squatch kind of fits that description well.
He does.
Yeah, it fits right in. Exactly what we're trying to talk about.
Yeah, which is kind of weird because, you know, Bat Squatch was spotted in Mount St. Helens, Washington, which is like probably over 1,000 miles away from Point Pleasant, West Virginia.
Oh, easily, I'm sure.
The whole question is like, why was this creature spotted there, you know? Let's get on to case number 2 of Mothman sightings around the world. 2 teenage girls, June and Vicky Melling, had taken a stroll down to an old church in Cornwall, England, while on vacation with their father. They had woken up early to walk into the nearby woods before the family continued on their vacation. Not seeing any harm in this, their father obliged and allowed them to go for a short walk. While on their walk, the girls came upon a church, and upon nearing the church, the 2 girls looked up into the sky and in their horror saw a winged beast hovering above the church tower. They ran away as fast as they could. Upon returning back to the family cottage, they told their dad about the big feathered birdman that they saw. The 2 girls were so upset about their encounter that the family decided to return from vacation 3 days early. So as we were researching this, I didn't really expect for the Mothman to become such a big case, and I was expecting, you know, just a couple reports in Point Pleasant area and nothing very much more, but like you open that can of worms and it's a lot more than you expect.
Yeah, it is.
The ones we read, for example, Owlman and the Bat Squatch, are just 2 of like hundreds of reports of like flying humanoid creatures from around the world, because there has been so many reports of humanoid creatures flying through the sky throughout the world. We don't have time to sit down and give explanations for each one, but these theories are specifically for Mothman of West Virginia, but you could possibly use them for different humanoids. Our first theory is the Sandhill Crane. The Sandhill Crane stands as tall as a human and has a 7-foot wingspan. It also has reddish coloring around the eyes and may explain the Mothman's red eyes. Although the crane sounds like it fits quite well as a possible explanation, some characteristics of the Mothman are left unanswered. Like, why did the creature have no reported neck?
I didn't know that Sandhill Crane's at a wingspan of 7 feet.
They're
That's
huge,
outrageous.
dude. Just imagine being in the woods. Like, Sandhill Cranes aren't native to West Virginia. Just imagine being in the woods, like, not used to seeing these creatures. And all of a sudden you see birds staring at you in the eyes.
They're terrifying.
This all sounds like that was 7-foot wingspan.
I don't know if it was a Sandhill Crane. Brendan told me a story one time when he was out hunting with one squaring him up, and those things are terrifying. Also, birds aren't real.
Birds aren't real. That's it.
Yeah.
Mothman is actually surveillance shown by the U.S. government.
Dude, actually, maybe the government's just messing with people. Like, I can see it, but that's not what we're here for.
Yeah.
We can call it the government a different name.
We're not calling out anybody because we don't want to die.
We would never call out anybody, especially the government of the United States of America.
In fact, birds are real.
Yeah, no, I don't remember ever saying anything different.
In fact, owls are another good example for the Mothman.
They are birds, and birds,
They're birds.
are totally real.
Yeah. The owl theory is a bit more broader than the Sandhill Crane, in that there are several different candidates of owls that may be a suitable fit for the Mothman. For example, a snowy owl, only typically found no more south than Michigan, was shot by a farmer near Point Pleasant, West Virginia, toward the end of the sightings. This could explain why the sighting stopped, because he shot what was causing the Mothman sightings.
Just the one owl that's hanging out in the woods, just like
He's busy.
going around terrorizing people on this farm. It's like, I'm putting an end to this.
He's booking it, man. He's just...
Just flying 90 miles in an hour.
Maybe he was just sightseeing. He just came down from Michigan to see Point Pleasant and got shot by some farmer. So a typical male snowy owl can measure around 2 feet tall and have a wingspan of almost 5 feet. Potential eyewitnesses could have been in shock after seeing such a massive bird. However, the snowy owl does not explain the gray color that witnesses claimed the creature was. Another candidate is the barn owl, which can look deceptively large. The barn owl measures at 16 inches tall and can have a wingspan of up to 4 feet in length. With its beaming white face, it could be easily mistaken for something abnormally large and scary.
Definitely scary.
Yeah.
Especially like some of the pictures we looked at earlier was them standing on a tree branch, like chest height.
Yeah.
The thing's taller than you are at that point, and looking up at it is pretty terrifying.
The Flatwoods Monster, I think, is also reported in West Virginia. That was like in the 1950s.
Yeah,
And it could also be possibly explained by an owl.
in that exact same scenario.
Yeah, basically. So,
Yeah, stay away from owls.
yeah, they're scary, and
They're totally real,
yeah, they can turn their heads 180 degrees or more
at least.
and look at you when they're walking away from you.
It's terrifying.
Yeah.
I didn't think about that. Talking about scary, you know what also is scary? A little thing called mass hysteria. Many researchers have theorized that the Mothman sightings may have been just a result of this mass hysteria following the first alleged sighting, in which eyewitnesses might have mistaken a barn owl, a snowy owl, a Sandhill Crane, any large non-Mothman creature as the monstrous beast. It's an interesting concept. I know it's happened at least a couple times, a lot of times with alien and UFO stories, radio stories, stuff like that. People get told one thing and then all of a sudden the entire world's panicking. On December 15th of 1967, tragically, the Silver Bridge connecting Point Pleasant, West Virginia and Gallipolis, Ohio, collapsed into the Ohio River during rush hour traffic. 46 people lost their lives that day, and 2 of the victims' bodies had never been found. Many of the town's residents believed that the Mothman was a spiritual manifestation sent to warn the townsfolk of the impending doom of the Silver Bridge. John Keel, lead investigator of the Mothman, said that the residents received a precognition of the bridge collapse. Many of the victims' families have also claimed that the deceased were witnesses to the Mothman. Other researchers pointed out that the fact that different humanoid bird creatures spotted throughout the world may have also been spiritual manifestations sent to warn people. What do you guys think? What do you think, Chad? You think they're angels sent to warn people about impending doom?
You know, I feel like that's part of people's personal beliefs, and I can't really say, like, they're wrong on that.
I believe in guardian angels.
Yeah.
Because I got a really good one, because I have died many. I have almost died. Hold up.
Hold up there.
I've almost died so many times, and I definitely should have. I should be dead, but also I've never seen any physical embodiment of it.
Yeah, I mean, like, I guess if you want to get to that point, like, in the Bible, there's been, like, biblically accurate angels, which has been, like, kind of like trend on TikTok and
It's terrifying.
Yeah, they're terrifying, and they have wings, and, like
9 wings, and then, like, also 9 eyeballs.
yeah, so, like, I guess, like, the Mothman, maybe he's trying to be friendly, just showing off 2 of his wings. Could be an angel, or it could just be a manifestation popping up to warn people of, like, don't go on that bridge.
Yeah.
Because I know. Oh, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, if they're messengers of heaven, they could definitely shapeshift, I'd imagine.
I feel like it was more of, like, you have this phenomena happening before the bridge collapse, and then the bridge does collapse, and people kind of connect that phenomena with the bridge collapse.
Looking for
So,
an
like,
answer.
even like it could literally, like, the Mothman explanation could be like literally three of our hypotheses put together. It could have been like mass hysteria caused by a barn owl, and that's like a phenomena by itself. But then the Silver Bridge collapsed, and so people like connected that phenomena with the bridge, and so like they thought that was a spiritual manifestation by itself.
Yeah.
Whatever the case, the residents of Point Pleasant saw something in the months leading up to the Silver Bridge collapse. It has been integrated into the culture and something that they likely will never forget. For now, the case of the Point Pleasant Mothman remains unsolved.